Justice for apple snails. Not because they deserve it, but because I think they're cute. Apple snails are, it's just like what the name kind of implies. They're snails that are the size of apples. They're snails that are the size of apples, roughly speaking. Obviously, like, apples come in many different sizes, and so do these snails, but generally they're big ass fucking snails that are the size of usually like smaller apples, but apples nevertheless, you know? Um, yeah, like, so they're an invasive species, and, I don't know all of where they live, but I do know that they live in Mobile, where I live. Um, and, I've seen them. I've had pets that were apple snails. I've had pet apple snails before, and, they're cute. They're really cute. I'm a big snail fan, you know? I love me a snail, what can I say? I'm a sucker for a snail. And, so yeah, these ones, they're big ass fucking snails. You can hold them in the hand and all that. I mean, you can hold any snail in the hand, but it's like exciting having an apple snail in your hand because it's fucking huge, bro. Fucking massive, my guy. Massive, okay? And it's in your hand. And like, yeah, and like, apple snails are an invasive species, and you gotta understand that having sympathy for invasive species, because see, what I'm getting at is, people are encouraged to kill them, and especially to kill their eggs, like crush the eggs. An apple snail egg looks like a big cluster of pink spheres. They're very pink, and they're spherical, and they're small. They're like about this big, and they're all like in clusters, clustered up together, and yeah, like, they're encouraged to crush the eggs so that this invasive species gets knocked out. What I need you to know is that that is not cruel, because the problem with invasive species is that they, they cause a lot of death to, the habitat, well, you know, the habitat that they're in, the environment that they're in, because it's not their native habitat. And so the reason why that's a problem is because the native creatures that lived there, the animals and plants that lived there, they didn't evolve to be equipped for this invasive species, this species that's from another environment. So they are a lot more vulnerable to it. You know, they won't recognize it as a threat, or they won't have any kind of defense mechanisms that they evolved to protect themselves from this threat, things like that. So, it can be like a real problem that results in a lot of animal death. So if you ever feel bad for, you know, the encouragement of the killing of native species, you should know that, like, it's kind of for the greater good, because if they continue to go along living, then a lot more death is going to be caused, you know, than if you just killed them, the invasive species. That being said, don't do it to apple snails, because I like them. Yeah. This is just, like, how, animal preservation works, man. People will be so preoccupied with how cute something is that they won't actually, like, it comes first. The cuteness does. The cuteness comes first before, like, you know, how valuable they could be. And it's ridiculous to even think about, like, the value of life, right? Like, that's psychotic, but unfortunately, that's what we have to do, or that's just what we do, because we are death machines. That's what humans are, so, yeah, sorry if I'm making you guys feel bad. You can't really help it, unless you're, like, you know, a billionaire or whatever, then you can help it, and you're making the world a worse place, and you should stop. But I don't think I have any billionaires on the channel. I don't feel like I kind of, like, attract that kind of crowd. Like, I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm really, like, making content that's, like, something billionaires would be into. I mean, if you go to, like, my homepage, like, literally scroll down, and, like, one of the very first playlist that comes up is called Capitalism is Very Bad. So, yeah, and it's not my videos, that's the Thought Slime. That's Thought Slime's channel. That's the channel is Thought Slime, and that's what the playlist is from. So, yeah. Yeah, so that's all. I like apple snails, they're really cute, but also they're a big problem. Goodbye.